The first duty of government is to protect our rights.
It's our job to maintain the proper role of government in what we were tasked to do.
If you really want to doge, this is how you doge. You don't vote for bad legislation that expands government. Thank you.
Now we're talking about taxpayer money, and we talk about accountability. It is their money. This isn't a government program we're actually spending on. We're actually giving it back to the people of Idaho.
There's other options for making our ballots more secure, such as using watermarks or putting holograms on the ballots.
And I think that that's what we need to look at more, is trying to get back to what we used to be, where our churches and our families took care of each other instead of relying on the state.
I asked the question rhetorically, if we gave them another $1 billion, they wouldn't be happy. Well, we've given them $2 more billion, and it's not enough.
We need to start making Idaho first. We need to start making America first.
Other states like Texas and Florida have enacted similar laws to address illegal immigration, both locally and in their communities. And Idaho has the right to protect itself when the federal government has failed to do that.
COVID presented us with quite the enigma. We didn't really know what it was or what to do, but that is no excuse to violate the rights of the citizens of the state of Idaho.
Say vote no on this and let the teachers teach and quit bringing in coaches to teach the teachers to teach, and let's get education going again in Idaho.
I don't know what's coming after this current administration for the feds, and we need this law because our federal laws on immigration have failed.
Mr. President, I think it's incumbent upon us to allow parents to use their hard-earned dollars to provide what's best for their children.
If I was looking at a business and I was looking at these figures, there would be heads rolling because this is unsustainable.
My concern is that the resilience of Idahoans who believe in self-reliance and self-responsibility will be eroded.
We need to be protecting our First Amendment rights, not inventing ways to slowly chip away at them.
The First Amendment and our freedom of religion, freedom of speech are our first liberties. They are so important. We don't have the rest without them.
Yeah, watch it.
Come on, guys.
Well, hello, everybody. I was just taking a look over here. We are broadcasting on YouTube in the vertical style as well. So if you're watching us on YouTube on your phone and you see us in the vertical mode, we are testing that out as well. We also have the regular landscape mode if you're watching on your TV or whatever. But wherever you're watching, wherever you are, whether it's live or in an archive, welcome back to Idaho Signal. It is January 22nd. 2026, and my name is Matt Edwards. And if you take a good look at the Idaho legislature in 2026 compared to just 4 years ago, it's like there's this light breaking through the darkness. There's a transformation that's got progressives and the left seething and conservatives finally flexing a little bit of muscle. Back in 2022, there was a massive wave of freshman senators and representatives who won their elections and then crashed the party, ousting the old guard and unleashing a ruby red tidal wave of conservatism in the 2023 session that our state house so desperately needed. And the days of tepid compromises and endless capitulation to big government bloat were now on notice. These new purebloods came in hot, ready to govern like they mean it. There were so many freshmen in the Senate in 2023 that many of them were even named vice chairs of committees. And we'll have one of those hopefully on the show later today. A freshman senator who went straight to vice chair of JFAC, the Joint Finance Appropriations Committee. And he has seen firsthand how JFAC was essentially at the mercy of the executive branch, rubber stamping ever expanding agency budgets like it was someone else's money, which of course it is, it's your money. And fast forward to now, where budgets have been smartly split into these base maintenance bills for the essentials, and then separate votes on those pie-in-the-sky agency enhancement requests. Add in the new co-chair, Representative Josh Turner, who's currently on a tour of House committees, schooling them on how their policy calls can slash spending and urging them to dust off the old legislation that's outlived its usefulness and gone rogue. Did I not say Tanner? Who did I say? I meant to say Tanner. Oh, Turner. Josh Turner? I don't even know who Josh Turner is, but apparently I said Tanner. Thanks. Let's get the record straight. It's Josh Tanner. Anyway, he's laying out a blueprint here for real fiscal discipline, right? So it's going to take some time to see if this actually works. The machine, it does not like change, as we saw this morning in House State Affairs. So the struggle is real. It is absolutely real. But we remain optimistic because, what else have we got at this point, right? That being said, though, in 2023, that class, the folks that came in 2023, got reinforcements in 2024, with voters sending even more conservatives to the House. And that made the moderates finally read the room, hopping on board rather than just getting left in this dust of some forgotten Main Street as the conservative posse galloped off into the storm to fight big government bureaucracy, the Mount Doom of Boise. And man, did we see the wins pile up. Keeping men out of girls' restrooms and locker rooms to protect our daughters. Mandating age verification for these porn sites to shield kids from the graphic sexualness of what's going on there. Empowering parents to sue libraries that stock these grooming books in the kids section. Rolling out tax credits as an off-ramp for failing public schools. The Idaho Medical Freedom Act to guard against medical tyranny. I mean, so many things. Even being allowed to visit grandma in her assisted living home is now guaranteed. And so much more. I mean, these aren't handouts or half measures. They're hard-fought victories for personal liberty and family values. All because you, the audience, are paying attention. You're refusing to swallow the media's lies anymore. You're vigilant. You're asking tough questions. And you're still holding feet to fire when it comes to election time. And we have a saying here, give us your vote or give us your seat. Meaning if you don't vote to preserve our liberties and protect our families, you will be giving us your seat. But vigilance isn't about just being, it's not just about holding them to it. It's about giving them the tools they need to help, which is our praise for these guys. We give the stick and we give the carrot, right? We have to praise these conservative legislators when they deliver. It's a job well done that makes things go a long way, right? Now, sure, there's some there that might falter here and there. No one's perfect. But if we're going to beat back the left and the progressivism and preserve our way of life in this great free state of Idaho, we must ride together. The 42 pledge signers in the legislature need encouragement, and they also need to know that you will hold them accountable. And we're going to have some folks on the program today. Hopefully, we have scheduled Senator Carl Bierke and Representative Joe Alfieri will hopefully join us. But right now, I think in the Senate, can we see what's going on in the Senate? The Senate is at ease. They're getting ready to do a program on America 250. Is so to speak. There's as we've heard. Can we hear? Can we hear a little bit?
The Senate will return to the ninth order of business. Messages from the House of Representatives. The Senate is in the ninth order. Your President, Senator Ricks, we noted in this order of business.
January 22nd, 2026. Mr. President, I transmit here with House Concurrent Resolution 22, which has passed the House. For Acting Chief Clerk.
House Concurrent Resolution number 22 will be referred to the 11th order of business for introduction.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate advance to the 11th order of business.
Without objection, the Senate will advance to the 11th order of business. Introduction, first reading of bills. The Senate is in the 11th order.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that all bills on first reading be read by number, author, and title only, and the journal show they've been read at length.
Hearing no objection, it is so ordered.
In the House of Representatives, House Concurrent Resolution 22 by State Affairs Committee, a concurrent resolution stating findings of the legislature, declaring 2026 to be the year of volunteerism and the America 250 and Idaho Service Challenge, recognizing a theme song to celebrate America's 250th birthday, and encouraging all Idahoans to commemorate America's 250th birthday by signing Idaho's replica of the Declaration of Independence. Be it resolved by the legislature of the state of Idaho, whereas the Idaho legislature has invited all Idahoans to promote an awareness and understanding of the principles contained in the nation's founding documents, including representative government.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I move that all rules of the Senate interfering with the immediate consideration of HCR 22 be suspended.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
You've heard the motion. We're suspending the rules. That requires a roll call vote, and 2/3 of the body must approve for passage. The Senate Secretary will call the roll.
Adams. Anthony.
Okay, so what's about to happen here is they're moving along this HCR 22, this America 250 resolution. There's a new song called "Forever Idaho" that we hear most likely will be sung or played this morning on the floor in celebration of America 250. So we'll keep an eye on this as they go through the vote. I'm sure this unanimous request here to suspend the rules will pass. It's interesting, this is one of those things here where it's like, you have all these rules in the Senate, but and the rules are there to protect the process, which is every bill must be read across the floor 3 times so that everybody can hear it, so that the people can at home can have time to contact their representatives and such. And those are why those rules exist, is that so that government moves slow enough when enacting laws and such. But every now and again, something comes around and they say we gotta fastball this, and sometimes it's pomp and circumstance like this, and other times we've seen it being done to very important bills that need to get done right away, and so they just muscle it through. So, such is life. We write our own rules as human beings here. So as they go through all of this, we will dip back in here for a little bit. Our guest, Senator Carl Bierke, is literally in that room. So he was our first guest for the first segment here of the show. So we'll join him as we look back into into the Senate here as they look over House Concurrent Resolution 22.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator Adams, you're recognized to open the debate on the resolution, or on the adoption of the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. 250 years ago, our forefathers embarked on a journey that we are still undertaking today. In honor of this undertaking, we commemorate the efforts taken by those who have come before us and resolve to do the same. During our nation's humble beginnings, volunteers came out from both hollers, cities, all over the place, all across the country, or all across the colonies, excuse me. And without those efforts, we would not be where we are today. With the adoption of this resolution, we designate 2026, 10 years since the founding of our nation, as the year of volunteerism, encouraging Idahoans to embrace that same fervor in providing acts of service to each other across our state. Happy semi-quincentennial, America.
Thank you, Senator. Is there further debate on the motion to adopt?
Mr. President.
Senator Guthrie.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to share a few accolades with, I'm getting an echo here, but and compliment the senator from 12 who co-chairs the committee on the America 250 and the hard work that goes into that. And just call out a few others, the treasurer, secretary of state, the historical society, and all the people that are working so hard on this. And it's really impressive to see the energy behind this. And as we do a look back at our founders of the Constitution and of our nation, and we do that with pride, we have a chance today to instill that same thing in our youth of tomorrow. And that's the exciting part to me, is to promote that pride in our country that will sustain us into the next 100, 200, 250 years. So I certainly encourage this and appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there further debate on the motion to adopt? Hearing none. Senator Adams, you're recognized to close the debate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the senator from District 28. Debate is closed.
Debate is closed. The question before the Senate is, shall House Concurrent Resolution number 22 be adopted? All in favor of adopting, say aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and the resolution has been adopted. And it will now be returned to the House of Origin, the Idaho House of Representatives.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask the Senate go at ease.
The Senate will be at ease.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, we're going to get the video queued up that is referenced in the concurrent resolution. There's a very special song that has been created just for Idaho and just for the celebration of our country's birthday. So we'll be at ease and we'll get that loaded up.
Mr. President,
Bro,
for an introduction.
You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to introduce my daughter-in-law, Cindy Groh. Stand up, please. And one of my favorite grandsons, Luke Groh. We're here touring the Capitol today and just happened to be here just in time for this introduction to hear what we just did. So please welcome them with your applause. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, let's bring the music down on that. They are... Oh, is that the video? All right, let's check it out.
From the rolling wheat fields of the Palouse to the wild water runs on the Payette's route. Golden potatoes, farmers stand strong. Cattle and dairy, they're feeding us all.
From Boise and Nashville to bright city glow, to Coeur d'Alene's calm waters below. Steady buddy waves with a smile so wide, sharing our story with American pride. So raise that flag, let freedom fly, echo liberty from plains to mountains high. America's heart beats red, white, and blue. 250 years of me and you, yeah, lift it up loud, Idaho proud, American true. We've walked with Lewis and Clark on the trail, raised our families with stories to tell. Generations working hard hand in hand, building our dreams, saying yes we can. So raise that flag, let freedom fly, echo liberty from plains to mountains high. America's heart beats red, white, and blue. 250 years of me and you, lift it up loud, Idaho proud, American true. Church bells ring through the valley, yeah, rodeo lights, what a life we share. As the perpetua forever we'll sing, God, land, and family.
mountains high. America's heartbeats are red, white, and blue. 250 years of making do. Yeah, lift it up loud, Idaho proud, American true. Idaho proud, red, white, blue.
Mr. President, I'm just going to take a Senate privilege if the floor will allow. Thank you, Mr. President, while we're at ease. I want to extend some appreciation as we watch that video and as we recognize this important kind of event with the passage of the resolution today. I want to extend a thanks to all of the America 250 and Idaho ambassadors. This is a special program. I've been honored to be a co-chair with our Speaker of the House. As I recall, every member in this chamber is an ambassador. And we have ambassadors all over the state who are participating in this program to make this year really special. And what we've kicked off today is an effort to get 250,000 hours of community service. And I know we're going to do it. And that is a big deal. And I think that will say something about not only the American spirit, but the Idaho spirit. We have in our gallery today a number of the leaders and those who have participated in making this happen. And so let's just give a general round of applause to all of those ambassadors who are here with us today. I would also like to recognize the America 250 Ambassador Band. You just heard them play, and they are here with us as well today. Their names are at the end of the credits of that music video you just saw. You will be given access to that file, senators, and we want you to share it all over the place. You will also be given access to the music, the actual sheet music and things itself. That was the country music version, if you didn't know. I saw a senator dancing. I don't know if dancing's allowed on the Senate floor, but there are other versions. There will be choral versions. We want to get this out there and have it be part of the celebration. One of those singers is Ellie Mae, who is from my neck of the woods, and she's become quite famous, and we're proud of her. But they are here today, and we want to have them stand and be recognized. The musicians. Right up here. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for sharing your talents with us. We extend our appreciation to those who are working on this year of volunteerism. We have service organizations from throughout the state who are here today. Jess Whiting and Treasurer Ellsworth are co-chairing this effort, and they are joined by our legislators who are serving as honorary chair co-chairs, including my wife. Joelle, can you stand up? Treasurer, stand up. Treasurer, stand up, be recognized, please. Yeah. Thank you to those who are here on behalf of the Sons of the American Revolution. We see you. They will be here on the second floor from noon to 1:30 today with the scroll for you to sign if you have not already signed it. You see in the rotunda, they've started to extend that scroll, Idahoans who have signed on the bottom half of the Declaration of Independence. You have an opportunity to sign. All Idahoans, please sign. So they're here today. Please go to the rotunda and see them. And finally, I want to thank our good senators from 28 and 14, or from 12. They have served on the advisory committee, and that's a lot of work, and they've put a lot of hard work and leadership in coordinating all the great ideas that we're going to see play out throughout this special year in our American history. I want to end, if it's okay, just with a quote from George Washington's farewell address. That's what he said: "The unity of government, which constitutes you, one people, is also now dear to you." As we celebrate America's 250th anniversary, this vision of unity feels especially fitting. Today, citizens across Idaho stand together with their elected representatives, one people, honoring our shared history and our shared responsibility for the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Senator Adams.
just for a brief comment, it's a little bit of a shout out too. In discussing these acts of service, I failed to mention that Idaho is leading the nation in just served cities that have jumped on board to invest in these acts of service. So Idaho is quite literally leading the way in acts of service.
Thank you. I'll take a privilege too. I was impressed with the song and the backdrop. We are blessed to live here, folks. Very blessed. The Senate will be in order.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate advance to the 15th order of business.
Without objection, the Senate will advance to the 15th order of business. Miscellaneous business, the Senate is in the 15th order.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there are any other introductions or announcements.
Mr. President, for an announcement.
Senator Taves.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, you are all invited to a luncheon immediately after the floor session here in the Joe Williams building, which is just north of the Capitol. There will be a presentation on land use and housing by the Mercatus Center and the Mountain States Policy Center. And there'll be boxed lunches sponsored by the Realtors, Home Builders, and AGC. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Senator Nichols.
Thank you, Mr. President, for an announcement.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Senators, we are going to be having a presentation today in East Wing 42 regarding rats. If you have not heard, there is a rat issue that's going on in the Treasure Valley. And so we are going to have the Department of Agriculture there, some of our commissioners, some of the pest control for Ada County, and they're going to be talking about what we need to be doing about this rat issue. So that will be in East Wing 42 from 3 to 4 o'clock. We'll also have a Q&A, so you are all invited to attend. It will also be streamed, so if you want to let your constituents know, it'll be on there too.
Out in rural Idaho, there's a lot of good ideas that work for rat removal.
Mr. President, for an announcement.
Senator Anthony.
A couple of announcements, actually. Today is Chairman's lunch meeting, and so, Chairman, I hope you don't forget. We have some things we got to visit about. That's immediately following adjournment. And then tomorrow for the majority, there is a caucus whiteboard meeting, and that meeting will discuss the administrative rulemaking process. And that will be immediately upon adjournment tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate adjourn until the hour of 10:45 a.m. Friday, January 23rd, 2026.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We'll see you at 10:45 tomorrow.
Well, there you have it, folks. We got the song that's out there, Forever Idaho. Apparently, it's going to be public domain, so we can have many different versions of it. If you want to do something different, go right ahead, I guess. Okay, we're going to release Senator Carl Bierke. You heard that there was a free lunch happening, and we don't want to deny the senators the opportunity to go get a free lunch. So we'll reschedule with Senator Bierke and have him come on to discuss his time on JFAC. You know, how it went from being this to maybe moving in a different direction with Representative Josh Tanner at the helm alongside Grow as co-chair of JFAC. So we'll definitely have him back on to reschedule that. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about my favorite thing, and I'm going to get this one. This is the pecan salt. This is the American Smoke Company. And you can find them at americansmokeco.com, americansmokeco.com. And but they craft this stuff right here in the U.S. It's Pacific Ocean sea salt, and it's smoked with all of those fine woods that you're looking at right there. I have in my hand the top one, the pecan salt. This one was smoked for 14 hours. It delivers a sweet, mild, and light smoke flavor. This one's almost gone, folks, because this is the one I've used the most. It is so good. It's so fragrant. If you don't have time to like smoke your meats, or you don't have a smoker, maybe you're just not into smoking, but you still love that flavor. You cure your meats, brine your meats with this stuff. You know, put it on a steak overnight, you know, for a couple hours. Get ready for the next day, and then just cook your food. I mean, you can put it on veggies. You can just use it as you would normally use salt, right? And just except maybe like in your cakes and cookies. I don't know, maybe smoked cookies. Maybe if you put it in your cookies. I don't know. Try all sorts of crazy experiments with this, but I highly recommend you head on over to americansmokeco.com and pick yourself up some of these canisters of salt, of smoked salts. They are absolutely fantastic. They're so fragrant. Oh my goodness. And I can't talk more highly of them. All right, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we be back, Brian Allman will be on, and then possibly still Representative Joe Alfieri. So stick around. We'll be right back.
And that's exactly what happened. You want to pull the tape? You can pull the tape, because we now got video.
Idaho is the dirt under your fingernails after an honest day's work. Idaho is the hug around your neck when your daughter spells her first word. Idaho is the written word of the law, steadfast and impartial, guarding liberty for all. Idaho is the family rifle passed down, a legacy of protection and the right to stand firm. Idaho is the echo of your own voice, unshaken and free, standing tall among the world's silenced. Idaho is the home that's built to weather storms, not empty wallets. Idaho is the quiet trust between a patient and healer, unbroken and sacred. Idaho is the hymn carried by the Spirit, gathering neighbors together in faith and purpose. Idaho is the laughter around a campfire, a family's bond growing stronger with every word. Idaho is the pioneer's will, firm and clear. We govern ourselves, free and unbound. Idaho is what America was. Let's keep it that way. Ask your legislator to sign the Citizens Alliance of Idaho pledge to preserve our shared values. We ride together.
You know, I'd say we do a pretty good job of showing you what Idaho is and celebrating its diverse nature within the context of what it means to be an American. With that ad, real quick, folks, this weekend I will be. I've been asked to moderate the Kootenai County elected officials town hall. That's January 24. That's this Saturday at 10 a.m. So if you are in Kootenai County and you want to come down and ask your elected officials, please come down and do so. This is the town hall of Kootenai County elected officials. So these are your commissioners, your sheriff, your coroner, your prosecutor, all the county officials will be there. Or hopefully they all will be there if they're all in town. They're all invited there to come. It's being hosted by the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee, and it will be held this Saturday, 10 a.m. at Grace Bible Church, which is in the north part of Coeur d'Alene, just outside Hayden, I believe. And so I'll be there moderating, and we will have a fun time going through that, asking them some questions. So. And if you are not in Kootenai County, I encourage you to show up at any of the town halls that happen in your county or your city. This is where you get to ask direct questions, get them on the record in public, and hold their feet to the fire, as we like to say. So very good. And but if you also have other opinions on various other things that you want to get out of your system, then please give us a call. 208-402-4915 is the number. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the air. I promised you we'll play it on the air. And it can be 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Just make sure you leave your name and town so we know where you're calling from. And if you have a gripe or anything, that's fine. We'll play it. We don't want to censor. But please be respectful. But we don't want to censor your message. So just please give us a call. We'll play it on the air. And you can do that at 208-402-4915, or give us an email at signal@citizensallianceidaho.org. Okay. Brian Allman is with us. He's hanging out, and I guess he was watching what was going on in the Senate, and Forever Idaho is now ringing through your ears, isn't it, Brian? Welcome.
Yeah, it honestly reminded me of kind of the early 2000s country style, right after 9/11, a lot of patriotic fervor. So that was nice. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of feel like, obviously, the 250th anniversary of your country doesn't come around. It only comes around once. And so I remember being a young kid when we did 225, but there wasn't that big of a celebration. I guess I wasn't a young kid then, and I was just born at the 200th anniversary. So and I know that there was a lot of hoopla back then too. So when you think about what Idaho's going to be doing, what we all want to be involved in, I mean, what's on your plate? Anything with the fam?
Well, I haven't planned too far out, but it's going to be a year-long celebration. Obviously, President Trump's doing a bunch of stuff. We're doing stuff here in Idaho. In my role with the Idaho Republican Party, each week I'm trying to find something that happened back 250 years ago, but also during the Revolutionary time period that led to the construction of the country, how we see it today, and I'm bringing that up and celebrating that. The anniversary of, say, the battles of Yorktown, the Bunker Hill, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Obviously, July 4th is going to be the big one. But it's really a year-long celebration of everything it means to be an American, what our country has meant for these 250 years. That's a quarter of a millennium. That's pretty good, I'd say.
I would say so, too. There's the website, america250.idaho.gov. To find out some local events that are scrolling around. You can go to what events? Click that events button there, guys, and let's see what kind of events they have on this website. I mean, on this program, we always want to focus on the signal and getting involved and making sure you're holding the feet to the fire. But these things are important to get out into the community, get to know your neighbors, get to know some of the new folks that have moved in. Reconnect with some old folks, reconnect with people that are different than you, and find common ground in celebrating America 250. So yeah, looks like there's a whole list of different things on here that you can go check out. The Philharmonic, let's talk about it, America 250. So yeah, and those are the things that are going on this month, and like you said, all year round. So very nice. Okay, Brian, let's get back to business though. I kind of want to go over, obviously, JFAC. We're always paying attention to JFAC in the budget and see how these budgets are going to lay out today. Today, they were talking a lot about Medicare. Any big highlights that you saw out of the discussion there?
Well, it was a complex discussion. You had the LSO budget policy analyst and then the deputy director, Sasha O'Connell from DHW, Department of Health and Welfare. She manages the Division of Medicaid, which is... apparently they have over 300 employees in this one division, and its purpose is to, run all these different welfare programs, including Medicaid itself, Medicaid expansion, which is a separate program, and a few other smaller ones. And my goodness, it's complicated. It's a lot of money flowing through it. I think this is actually the highest single budget in the entire Idaho state budget. $5.2 billion, she said. That's a huge amount of money. That's already an inconceivable amount of money. And yet every year we, along with the federal government, which is also we, spend that much money on this one program. And so there's a lot of discussion. You have the Republicans, most of the Republicans are asking questions like, how do we better manage this? What's the department or what's the division doing to get people out of the system so that they don't need to be subsidized? Meanwhile, the Democrats were asking lots of questions about how do we raise revenue so we pay for more, because Senator Wintrow, the Democrat, was talking about how we need public testimony so that we can have more people come in here crying and upset about these programs that are being cut. Obviously, pushing the emotional buttons there to say that we need, instead of cutting programs, we need to raise taxes.
Yeah, and how how come they never invite folks that are just crunched by taxes, right? Oh my God, my taxes.
That's always the question.
Yeah, well, I mean, where's the folks who are the retirees who are crushed by, and not even the retired, just the elderly that were crushed by their property taxes after they've paid off their home 10 years earlier. They're still paying rent on their property. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, we're going to continue to watch that and see what's going on. And I believe Senator Groh was chairing the committee today, right? Was Tanner there, or was he still? I think
he might have been speaking to another committee. I
Right.
did not see the camera. I was sitting at home this time so that I could watch multiple committees at once.
Yeah.
Because when I'm there, you look there, he's not there. I know he's been going around talking to a lot of the other committees, health and welfare, revenue and taxation, basically telling them, hey, it's your job to cut your budgets, which is pretty good to hear. So yeah, obviously as the Senate and House co-chairs, they alternate days which one gets to chair the meeting. So with Senator Groh chairing, there weren't quite as many fireworks as yesterday with Representative Tanner.
Right.
Yeah, so they're working together there to hopefully bring these budgets down, find places that we can cut. I do disagree with the Democrats in the legislature. I do think there are ways to cut things without necessarily, hurting people. And to the point I mentioned, several of the Republicans, I think Senator Galloway, Senator Bierke, Representative Bruce, were talking about how do we get people off these programs, because the goal of if these really are just a hand up instead of a hand out like everybody always says, then the goal should be to help someone out to the point that they no longer need the program. Unfortunately, it seems like the perspective from a lot of folks, a lot of all the Democrats and too many Republicans, is that these are just cradle to grave welfare programs. And
exactly, it's life. It's life.
The director did talk about people who have intellectual or physical disabilities who, they're not going to reach a point where they can be completely independent. I don't necessarily have an answer to that yet, but that should be something we should be thinking about. How do we create a system where people can be helped without necessarily continually and endlessly expanding government welfare?
Yes, and this is the issue that I have with these arguments, is that they always go to the extreme so that they can save the entire program. And it was the same thing with abortion for many years. They always talked about this this less than 1% factor, this 1% part of the population that dealt with something horrible in order to justify being able to have the ability to kill babies up to the ninth month, right? Thank the Lord that we are now living in a state where we don't have to deal with that issue anymore, because we're literally just dealing with arguing over that 1%, which is where we should be, and that's where the battle should be. However, we must remember there are folks out there currently right now gathering signatures so that way we can return to the days where we can just, kill babies at 9 months. But that's for another time. All right. So the House Judiciary Committee met yesterday, and this committee and the State Affairs Committee are usually where you find a lot of these controversial, bills, whether either dealing with crime and criminals and that sort of thing, or just the social issues. And so it can get very heated. It can also go very long. And so yesterday there was about an hour and a half hearing on a bill that would essentially make it an enhancement crime if you were wearing a mask while committing a crime. And so this went on for about an hour and a half, and we clipped out the whole thing. We uploaded the whole hearing. So if you want to watch this thing from soup to nuts, you can go over to the YouTube channel or Rumble and watch the entire hearing. It's fascinating to listen to these arguments, especially because of the nuanced arguments, Brian. And excuse me. So we have a clip here. We're going to have Representative Joe Alfieri on as well. hopefully. And he was a part of this hearing, and so we'll get his perspective as well. But let's hear some of the arguments against, or I don't want to say necessarily against it, but some of the, they were talking about unintended consequences of passing a bill like this. Let's listen to this first one here with Representative, now let me set it up. Representative Hall from Twin Falls was presenting the bill, and Representative Hostetler from that area as well, down there in the Magic Valley, was questioning him. Let's listen to that.
Thank you, Representative. While I understand the heart of this piece of legislation, there's some things that concern me. For example, the first thing that comes to mind for me is January 6th, right? A lot of people out there doing what they thought was protesting, disturbing the peace. Some of these things come to mind. We had an administration that went full bore. How would this, for example, if this was kind of in practice, how would that play to some of those people there and have it affected some of the outcomes?
Chairman, Representative Hostetler, I think, again, it just goes to the core. Don't commit a crime and use a mask to hide your identity. Going to the specifics of January 6th, I certainly share some of your feelings regarding what happened that day, but there were specific crimes that were committed that day, wearing disguises and the like, and it certainly could be used for those. But again, it comes down to the discretion of the prosecutor asking for it and the judiciary utilizing it.
Okay, Brian. So that was kind of like the debate, right? Was the fact that we were trying that it seems like the bill is trying to give the discretion to the prosecutors and so forth, to the system, to say when and where they would use this enhancement law.
Right. So as the bill is written, if you go commit a crime, whatever it is, wherever it falls on the scale of minor crimes to major crimes, and you're put before it, you're indicted, and the prosecutor says you did this, and this is the sentence we want, and you get convicted, and you get that sentence. What this would do is give the prosecutor the opportunity, then, if you were wearing a face covering of some sort during the commission of that crime, to add in an enhancement. Say, well, okay, we got this penalty, but now because you wore a mask with it, you get another year or another $2,500 in fines. And that's and the idea, as Representative Hall said, and several of the police officers who came and testified in favor of it said, is that wearing a mask shows premeditation, it shows an effort to evade detection, and it can intimidate the victims of the crime. However, as Representative Hostetler there said, we've seen what happens when law enforcement is pointed in the wrong direction, I guess we'll say, when the Biden administration went after, not only the people who did break the law at the Capitol that day, but those who, walked in an open door and just walked around and left. If they were wearing a mask, would they have been even more, gotten even more stuff? At the heart of it, I guess, is, do we trust prosecutors to be very wise with tools that the legislature gives them?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the argument that Representative Joe Alfieri made. Let's watch his clip, because I know he'll be joining us here in just a minute. Let's watch Representative Joe Alfieri.
Some comment. First of all, about laws being used improperly. As we've seen over the last few years, any law can be used improperly. You can, I'm told that if you're a good prosecutor, you can indict a ham sandwich. So I don't think that's a good argument to not proceed with this law. But I want to go to the core of this, and that is, I think, the core is, the question is, why would anybody wear a mask? Well, you wear a mask to conceal your identity. And the reason that you want to conceal your identity is because you know in your heart that what you're doing is wrong. Whether it is legally wrong or morally wrong, you know that the act that you're about to commit is wrong. So you don't want to be identified, and that's why you put a mask on. So we need to have something that addresses that, and this law addresses that.
Very good. All right. Well, hopefully to expand on that, we have Representative Joe Alfieri with us now. Representative, it's good to see you, my friend. Always a good guest on the program. Welcome back to 2026 session. It was a long day for you guys yesterday.
It did turn out to be a long day, yes. I was surprised. I wasn't sure it would go that long. Yeah. Good to see both of you, Brian, as well. Nice to see you.
Great. So there was a lot of concern about this bill.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't something that we should have, but there were some folks, and maybe we'll play some more clips later, who said that maybe it leaves it too broad. So maybe they wanted to like narrow it a little bit. What was your take on that? I mean, I know you're most everybody was in agreement on this, but there definitely was some pushback on how broad the language was written. And what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, so we can certainly define it much further, but I think in defining it, we risk the possibility of making exclusions where we could have applied the law. So there's that part of it as well. I would prefer a little bit broader application or a little bit broader language so that the application would be determined by the prosecutors and the sentencing judge.
Right. And explain to everybody what this means, because I think there were some misconceptions out there that it would just make it a complete illegal to wear a mask in general, which is not true.
Yeah. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not banning masks. There's no attempt to do that at all. What this does is allow a judge in the sentencing process to add additional time and penalty if a mask is used in the commission of a crime. And let's be honest about where this is aimed. This is aimed at what we're seeing in our streets right now, and realistically, folks, we are at the point of insurrection in many areas, and we don't want to see that happen in Idaho. We have masked groups of rioters, frankly, who are paid by international organizations who are trying to disrupt our country. That's what it comes down to. And we should use every tool possible to prevent them from doing that. And this is another tool.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you're reading the room is exactly what needs to happen here, right? Like, there's a lot of folks in politics right now who aren't necessarily reading the room and understanding what we're up against here. So this kind of, I mean, because I mean, obviously, I think it was Representative Ehart had pointed out, like, we had bank robbers wearing masks, and there was never an enhancement for that sort of thing. But when you get into the part where we have like basically little insurrections in these cities and such, it is a concern. How about the fact that like we're seeing, how ICE agents are out there wearing masks and law enforcement agents are out there wearing masks? What was sort of the reaction there when that was brought up from your perspective?
And I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned that a legal jurisdiction. I'm trying to be gentle here. A legal jurisdiction might want to go ahead and prosecute law enforcement and use the same tools against us. There's certainly that risk. I don't think it's likely in our area, in our state, that would happen. It's conceivable, but I don't see that as a real issue.
Yeah.
But here's really kind of the bottom line for me. We are close to, as I said before, we're close to insurrection. We have insurrection in several areas of the country, and we need to use our tools that we can to address that. And are they extreme? Possibly. Are they potentially dangerous? Possibly. I'll concede that. But remember what we've done in the past. During World War II, we sent tanks and material and trucks and armaments to the Soviet Union. Our enemy, at the time we knew it was going to be our enemy, there was no question about it. But the existential threat was the Nazis. We had to take care of that. And that's where I think that I'm sorry to say this, because you know how I feel about our country and our state, but we're at that point now, and we have to prevent these people from taking over. These people. It's terrible to say it that way, but that's the truth. We must take extreme measures. And could this come back and bite us in the future? Maybe, but right now the house is on fire. We got to get the fire hose out.
Right. Yeah. No, it's understandable. Absolutely. And I think that there's there's always room, as we've seen in other committees this morning, where people come back and say, you know what, we do need to add a word or strike a word here or something like that. And so, yeah, we could let's get, I see what you're saying. It's the old, like, let's get it on the books. Let's see how it operates. And again, this is a sentencing thing. So this comes after. You're not going to be scooping people up off the street simply for wearing a mask. Especially, where you and I both live. I mean, that could be half the year where we're wearing hoodies and masks.
Yes.
But don't commit crime is basically what you're saying.
Right. And we trusted we trusted our judiciary would apply it properly.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, there's still there's still a what do you say? It's got to go through the Senate. It's got to go to the House. It's got to go to the floor first.
Got to go to the floor of the House. Right.
And then over. So the debate isn't over. We'll continue to see how this rolls out.
Not by any means. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. From your perspective, what some of the because this wasn't your bill, but what are you working on, Representative Alfieri? What can we expect if there's anything you want to share publicly?
Well, we had a lottery bill, which I think is a good bill.
Yes.
To prevent bulk purchasing of lottery, and I guess I blew up the Nate Shellman show yesterday. I don't know if you were aware of that, but apparently there was a lot of feedback on that. Mr. Shellman called me, but I didn't get the chance to return his call. And that's a bill that would prevent bulk purchasing of lottery tickets in Idaho by organizations that are apparently this is a new method of making money across the country. You go out and buy 5,000 lottery tickets and hope that one of them hits, and it's happened.
Yeah, I was going to say you cited a few things about how there was company or groups of people or a company, whatever it is, outside of the state of Idaho who are buying tickets in bulk. Are these are they anything? Are they scratch offs? Are they Powerball? What is it?
It's a combination of both, but they tend to go for the larger ticket items.
Okay.
And not the Powerball, but the $1 million prizes.
Right.
And I think we've paid over $3 million to out-of-state entities. Now it's not like you go to visit your cousin, or your cousin comes to visit you and he buys a ticket and he wins, which we're fine with that. But to go in and scoop up all of the tickets from a local convenience store, hoping that they're going to win, is just not right. Because it does two things. First of all, it takes the money out of our state, which we're hoping that it will stay here. But you're preventing other people from taking advantage of the lottery and possibly winning some money. And one instance that I cited in Kellogg was a small group of people in Kellogg who have banded together to kind of help students who have some difficulties with housing and things like that, just life in general. That group, the Den in Kellogg, won a $7,000 ticket, which was great. Fantastic. They won $7,000. But at the same time, in the same lottery, an out-of-state group won $300,000. Now, that $300,000, I think, would have been better applied to this group of students and people in Idaho that could have used the money. That money, if it comes back into Idaho, gets spent in Idaho. It helps our economy. It helps people in Idaho. It helps our taxes. So really, it's just wrong to do what these people are doing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, it's something that I didn't even, it was never on my radar. But
it wasn't on mine either. To be honest with you, the Lottery Commission came to me and asked if I was interested, and I said, yeah. This is, let's keep Idaho, Idaho.
Very good, excellent. All right. Well, you're vice chair of the Judiciary Committee, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it's going to be, it's going to be very active this year as well. I also wanted to get your take. Representative Josh Tanner, now co-chair of JFAC, has been visiting different committees and encouraging you guys to look at policy that affects spending, but also to look backwards at things that you may have passed, maybe when you're not there, but your committee had passed years ago. That may be outdated and it's wasting money. Is that something you guys want to take seriously too? Are you on board with that?
Absolutely on board with it. But I'll give you some bad news. Is that Representative Scott brought three RSs this morning to take us out of three commissions, outside government commissions, but Northwest Fisheries and some other things like that, where we're spending money. And it's being done by private industry. The Hispanic Commission, that's being handled very effectively by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and another group here down in the Boise area. We're spending money. We're involved in all these things. They've been on the books for years. It's a waste of our time and money. We should get out of it.
Yeah, and she brought those this morning, and I think
Yeah.
2 of them didn't even get
2
printed.
did not pass. Yeah, only 1 passed. Yes,
Oh yeah,
yes.
we were watching that. We were going to talk about that, and the people want efficiency, so you give them these low hanging fruit, which was it's even what they called some of the stuff in that Doge task force, and they won't even give it a print hearing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
So I'm with you, Joe. I'm on it.
And Matt, what I argued was that I'm not sure we should pass these things, but let's at least have a hearing and dig into it and find out what we're actually doing. We couldn't even get the committee to agree to dig into these and look at it further. So that was
Yeah.
disappointing.
It is disappointing. Well, we're gonna work up a strategy on clapping back on that. So
Yeah, good. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Representative Alfieri, well, I'm sure we'll check in with you again. Good luck to you, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt. Always good to talk to you.
All right. Take care. Let's bring Brian back in here because that is something I do want to talk about, Brian. We saw that this morning, the Commission on Hispanic Affairs. I think there was a fishery commission, and these were things that Representative Heather Scott just wanted to get printed so we could have a hearing on it. And they both were denied a print. They were both denied a print.
It's frustrating to watch. You watch these print hearings, and a Democrat might bring up a bill that I think we would agree is a bad idea, but they say, well, let's give it a hearing. Let's actually let them present their idea. It's almost like they have a much lower standard for Democrats and perhaps moderates than they do for conservatives. The conservatives are often willing to give the benefit of the doubt to people on the other side to say, okay, well, why not have a full hearing? Whereas the moderates and the Democrats are not willing to do the same thing for the conservatives and say, no, we're just going to kill this right now because we hate the very idea of it.
Yep. It's so true. And I'm sick of it. And they're going to hear from us because what happened today in that committee with those people who voted no on that, and maybe there's reasons, maybe 1 or 2 of them will come back and look a little bit differently so that they can do it the way they get a bigger consensus. But that being said, like, this is the will of the people, folks. We clearly, all the polls show, and you do not vote for this stuff, we're coming for your seat. That's it. It's all there is to it. Brian, we're going to leave everybody with some good news, though, because Representative Elaine Price was presented the resolution to put the repeal of the Blaine Amendment on the ballot. She presented that this morning in the House State Affairs Committee, and it passed, I think, with a unanimous vote. So at least we're going to have another hearing on this Blaine Amendment. I do want to leave folks with that clip this morning because I want you all to hear it. So Brian, where can people follow you just so we get that out of the way?
Head over to gemstatechronicle.com. I didn't get an article out yesterday. Been pretty busy this week, but there's a lot of stuff I'm working on. There's the Boise Public School enrollment numbers. There's this Medicaid stuff, the Medicaid budget I want to dig into further. And there's a lot of little things like this Blaine Amendment thing is not a little thing. It's a big thing. But it's just, the ball is just now getting rolling. So I'll be looking at that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brian, good to see you, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow for the Friday show. And like I said, folks, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time. But we do want to leave you with this clip from this morning. It's just about 5 minutes long, and this is what happened when Representative Price presented this repeal of the Blaine Amendment resolution. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Chairman Crane and committee, my name is Elaine Price, District 4, Coeur d'Alene. I bring before you RS 32951. This legislation is creating a House Joint Resolution to put a question before the citizens of Idaho if they want to repeal Section 5 of Article 9 of the Idaho Constitution. This section is prohibition of sectarian appropriations, or the Blaine Amendment. A recent court case in Idaho has shown not only is the use of the Blaine Amendment by the state discrimination, it also puts the state decision makers in a position of choosing to uphold the Blaine Amendment or the U.S. Constitution. When they choose to uphold the Blaine Amendment, the state loses in court under the U.S. Constitution. Again, this resolution would put before the state electorate a repeal amendment. We do not make this decision in this body. I ask you to introduce RS 32951, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Representative Price. Are there questions? Representative Skog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to introduce RS 32951.
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 32951. Is there further questions or discussion on that motion? Representative Mickelson.
Mr. Chairman and Representative Price, I just was wondering if you could tell me really quick before we vote on this, how our Blaine Amendment and the U.S. Constitution, how they're contradicting each other, or how it is that we lose, because I didn't understand it that way. So I just kind of like to understand that before we vote on it.
Representative Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative. What happens with the Blaine Amendment is we're discriminating against a religious class. It discriminates against, right now it's being used against Christians. So when we implement the Blaine Amendment, it discriminates because we're choosing to not allow Christians to do something that we allow other people to do. And under the U.S. Constitution, that falls under First Amendment and the Establishment Clause. And there are several court cases, including one in Idaho, that has upheld the Establishment Clause over our Blaine Amendment.
Any further questions? Representative Bingham.
Chairman Crane and Representative Price, could you give me some examples of how Christians are things that they're not being allowed to do that other religions are being allowed to do?
Representative Price.
Mr. Chairman and Representative, it's not that one religion is being allowed to do it and another religion is not being allowed to do it. It's Christians are not being allowed to do something and a non-Christian entity is allowed to do it. The court case in Idaho is a perfect example. A church was renting out a school facility to hold their services, as well as a music group was renting out the same facility to have their practices, concerts, whatever. The church was told that the school had to break their lease because they were a Christian organization, but the music school was allowed to stay in that building. So that's where the issue came in.
Follow up? You good? Okay. Representative Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for a comment on the motion. And thank you for bringing this, Representative. And I want Idahoans to weigh in on this. I trust them, and I think it's about time that they do. And I really hope that we have a robust effort to inform Idahoans about the Constitution and about this, particular amendment. So,
Committee, we have a motion to introduce RS 32951. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Will be done. Committee, that completes our work for today. We'll stand adjourned.
This bill, I think, puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.